This is from at Picard M Maker. What are games you regret not having the chance to play or passed up on when you were younger? For me, it was Donkey Kong Country 3, which I didn't get to play until it was on the Virtual Console.
For me, it would be honestly quite a bit of RPGs. The RPGs that were on the Super Nintendo that I did not get a chance to play when I was younger. When I didn't have one. People always, get on me for saying I don't like the Super Nintendo. There are games on the Super Nintendo that I would want to play, and games that I would probably enjoy on the Super Nintendo. And had I played them when I was younger, I would probably enjoy the Super Nintendo a lot more. The issue is I just don't have all the time right now to go back and play a lot of those RPGs that are on the Super Nintendo that I was not able to play when I was younger.
35 hours to spare.
So, unfortunately, because of that, I don't have that connection with the Super Nintendo that a lot of people do. And I'm never going to be able to have that time to, I don't think really get that connection to the Super Nintendo. And I think that's where a lot of my indifference with the Super Nintendo lies, is it is largely considered it is a very RPG heavy system. And I never really experienced that as a kid, even though I liked RPGs and played what I could on the Genesis, and I had a lot of RPGs for the NES. I missed all those. So, some I did go back and play, but, at the time, I wanted to play through Earthbound at the time. I played it when my friend rented it, but I didn't get a chance to go all the way through it. I was not playing Final Fantasy IV when it came out. Stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a shame that I abandoned consoles for PC gaming because, I missed out on a lot of like the action platformers. I never played any of the Mega Man X games when they first came out. And from what I hear, they're different than the regular Mega Man games. I probably would have liked them a lot better, for example.
Possible.
But it's possible. I didn't play any of those shooters from the 16-bit era. Really, I didn't play any on the Genesis. I didn't have a Genesis. But I never got around to playing those. I never played them on the Super Nintendo. So I did miss out on probably a chunk of games I would have very much enjoyed because I was becoming an adult and playing Return to Zork and fucking X-Wing and TIE Fighter and, PC stuff. And the last run of point-and-click adventure games and doing that. So the whole genre has shifted from what I played.
Yeah, there's like a 3-year period, which doesn't seem that long now, but when you're a teenager, it is. And especially in that like era of 16-bit gaming, there's a lot of stuff that can come out in those 3 years. And yeah, there's like a 3-year period of 16-bit gaming, especially on the Super Nintendo, that I missed. Because also, like, I was playing Sierra and LucasArts stuff. I was playing a lot of stuff on the computer. And yeah, I do kind of regret that. I do think it would have definitely changed how I feel about, say, the Super Nintendo.
Which is why I am not alone in working on a certain Super Nintendo guidebook.
Yes.
I'm not taking on the load I am. I'm not qualified to do that. Plus, I would die if I did that again. And stuff like, Super Castlevania, Rondo of Blood, stuff like that I never played when it first came out that I probably should have, since I always liked the Castlevania series. Maybe not as much as other series, but I should have got around to it. I just didn't. So it's kind of like I feel like not ashamed. You don't feel ashamed, but it's like, I never really played those games.
Right.
I always kept up with the arcade games, though. I was always playing those arcade games at Seaside. I always knew what the hottest arcade game was. Sure. The hottest arcade games. And no, I mean, the first couple years of Super Nintendo, I was around for like Star Fox and ActRaiser and SimCity a little bit in those. So I played some of those early staples. But yeah, the middle years, the late years, none. I played almost none of those later staples.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was. I wasn't really around for the end of the 16-bit era.
Just like some of the sports games, unfortunately. And but never played something like... Well, looking at the library, scrolling through it, a lot of the Super Nintendo games, there were a lot that were just ports from somewhere else, computer, or just you can play it on another system. Spider-Man and X-Men: Arcade's Revenge. Out of the 9 or so only Super Nintendo games I had to own that one. That was a disappointment.
Yeah, not good.
I did rent a decent amount of Super Nintendo games though, for like a couple years while I was getting the PC. I couldn't buy both PC and Super Nintendos. I couldn't afford both. That's why I had to you can't rent PC games. So I did do that. So something like Maximum Carnage, I would rent that and play that.
Right.
Or go to a friend's house and play Sunset Riders, for example.